We've all heard it, maybe from our parents, or a financial guru on TV. All debt is bad. Avoid it at all costs. It's a simple, powerful message that paints debt as a four-letter word, a trap that leads to financial stress and ruin. But what if that's not the whole story? What if that common wisdom, while well-intentioned, is dangerously incomplete? What if the right kind of debt isn't a trap at all, but a tool, a ladder that could actually help you build wealth faster and more effectively than saving alone? Today we're going to challenge that old rule. We're going to separate financial fact from fiction and uncover the critical difference between debt that drains your wealth and debt that builds it. Welcome to the debt paradox. So if not all debt is bad, how do we tell the difference? The concept is actually very simple. It all comes down to one question. What is the debt for? Imagine you're at a fork in the road. One path is labeled good debt and the other bad debt. They look similar at the start, but they lead to vastly different financial destinations. Taking the wrong path can set you back years, while the right one can accelerate your journey to financial freedom. The distinction is this. Good debt is an investment. You borrow money to buy something that will likely be worth more in the future or will help you earn more income. Bad debt is for consumption. You borrow money for things that lose value, often quickly. It's the difference between buying an asset and buying a liability. Let's look closer at the good path. Good debt acts like a lever. Think about a mortgage. Most of us cannot buy a house with cash, but a mortgage allows us to control a significant asset, a home, with a relatively small down payment. But is it just about buying a house? Not at all. The same principle applies elsewhere. A student loan might feel like a huge burden, and a business loan might seem risky. You're taking on a liability now, and the payoff is not guaranteed. That's why we call it an investment. The key characteristic of good debt is its potential to generate a positive return. Your house appreciates. Your degree leads to a higher salary. Your business turns a profit. In each case, the long-term financial gain outweighs the cost of borrowing the money. You are using debt to build your net worth. Now for the other path, the one we're often warned about. And for good reason. Bad debt is the opposite of a wealth-building tool. It's a wealth-draining trap. Think about the last time you swiped a credit card for a fancy dinner, a new gadget, or a vacation. It feels good in the moment. The purchase provides immediate gratification. But what happens a month later when the bill arrives, and you cannot pay it in full? The trap springs. That purchase, which is already used up or losing value, now starts accumulating high-interest charges. You end up paying far more than the item was ever worth. Bad debt finances a lifestyle you can't currently afford, and it does so by stealing from your future self. It's a cycle of borrowing for consumption, where the asset is gone but the liability remains and grows. Okay, the theory is clear. Good debt builds wealth. Bad debt drains it. But in the real world, the lines can feel blurry. An auto loan, for example, is that good or bad? It depends. So how can you make the right call in the moment when you're faced with a big financial decision? How do you avoid tricking yourself into thinking a want is a need? You need a simple, reliable framework, a litmus test for any potential debt. Before you borrow a single dollar, ask yourself these three critical questions. 1. Will this generate more income? 2. Will this asset grow in value? 3. Is this a functional need or a pleasure-based want? If the answers are no, you are almost certainly looking at bad debt. This simple test cuts through the emotion and forces you to see the transaction for what it is, an investment or an expense. We've separated fact from fiction and built a framework for making smart borrowing decisions. But knowledge is only potential power. True power comes from action. It's easy to leave this presentation feeling informed, but then go back to managing your finances the same way you always have. The real question is, what will you do with this information tomorrow? Here is your first step. I challenge you to conduct a personal debt audit. Tonight, sit down and list every single debt you have. Then, using the questions we just discussed, label each one as good debt or bad debt. This simple exercise will give you a crystal clear picture of your financial health. It will show you exactly where your money is working for you and where it's working against you. This isn't just an exercise. It's the first step to taking control, creating a strategic repayment plan, and turning debt from a source of fear into a tool for your success. Your learning doesn't end here. Financial literacy is a journey, not a destination. The frameworks we've discussed today are powerful, but like any tool, they get more effective with practice and continued education. That's why we've prepared additional resources to support your journey. Download our free personal debt audit worksheet. It will guide you step by step through the process we discussed. Connect with our community for ongoing support and tips. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. The difference is they never stopped learning. Keep going.